Hey everyone, welcome back to the Launching Your Own Messaging App Business series. I'm really happy that you're here for the next step. If you watched the last video, you know we chose a cool idea, a messaging app for teachers. Today we are going to take that idea and figure out the most important features we need to include in our minimum viable product, or MVP. An MVP is all about starting simple, building just enough so that people can start using app and we can learn what works and what won't. We're going to focus on the must-have features that will help us to get this app up and running. It can be really tempting to want to include every cool feature that you think of, but when it comes to an MVP, less is more. We want to focus on the core features that solve the biggest problems of our users, in this case, teachers. And that's exactly what we are going to do today. Let's start with a quick reminder. An MVP, or a minimum viable product, is just the simplest version of your app that still delivers the value to the users. It's not about making it perfect, it's about getting something out there that people can use so we can start getting feedback. For our messaging app, that means focusing on what teachers really need to make their communication easier. The goal is to create something simple, valuable, and easy to test. We are going to figure out the most important features and leave out all the extra stuff for now. Think of it like baking a cake. Before you worry about fancy decorations or icings, you need to make sure the cake itself is tasty. The MVP is that basic cake, something solid that people enjoy before we add all the extras. Plus, let's be real, no one wants a cake with all icing and no cake. Alright, let's talk about the features we need. Our goal is to help teachers communicate better, especially with parents, and maybe with other teachers too. Here are the features we need for our MVP. The first feature we need is user authentication. We need teachers to be able to create accounts and log in securely. We also want parents to create accounts so they can connect with their child's teacher. So we need a simple sign up and login process, maybe using an email or password to keep it easy. User authentication might sound kind of boring, but it's really important to make sure the right people have access to the right information. It's all about keeping things secure and private, especially since we are dealing with information about students. We don't want just anyone reading those "Johnny forgot this from work again" messages. Later on, we can think about adding more options, like logging in with social media or adding extra security with multi-factor authentication. But for now, let's keep it simple. Email and password will do this job. Next up, we need messaging. This is the heart of our app. We want teachers to be able to send messages to parents and parents to reply to teachers. For our MVP, we'll keep it simple. Just basic text messages. No fancy file sharing or video calls yet. The key here is to keeping it easy to use. We want teachers to be able to send updates, reminders, and answer questions from parents without any hassle. We will add more features later, but for now, basic text messaging is enough to provide value. I remember back when I was in school, teachers would send paper notes home, and those notes often lost in my backpack. It was like my backpack was kind of a black hole. A simple messaging feature can replace all of that and make sure parents get info they need without relying on students as messengers. It's a small change, but it can make a big difference. Another important feature is contact management. Teachers need an easy way to see who they're talking to. We will create a basic contact list that lets teachers see all the parents linked to their classroom and start conversation with just a tap. Think of this as a simple address book. It should be an easy to use so teachers can quickly find the parent they need to talk to. We will organize it by classroom, so it's really straightforward. Teachers shouldn't have to scroll through tons of names just to find the right person. And the best part, parents will only see the teacher they're connected to, not other parents. This keeps everything private and makes sure communication is clear. No awkward, oops, I messaged to the wrong person moments here. Finally, we are going to include an announcement feature. This will let teachers send one message to all parents at once. Think of it like a group chat, but only the teacher can send messages. It's perfect for reminders about field trips, events, and everything else that parents need to know. This feature is all about saving time. Instead of sending messages over and over, teachers can send an announcement to everyone at once. It's fast and makes sure no one misses important updates. Imagine how helpful this could be for sending out last-minute reminders, like don't forget, tomorrow is picture day, or reminder to sign the permission slip for the field trip. Teachers are busy, and anything that saves time is a huge win. Now, let's talk about what we are not including. At least, not yet. It's really easy to get carried away with feature ideas. But remember, the point of an MVP is to start small and get feedback. So, here are some features we are leaving out for now. We are not adding file sharing just yet. It might be helpful, but it's not essential for our MVP. The same goes for video calls and advanced analytics. These are great features, but we can add them later, after we know people finding value in our basic app. We will add these features as we grow, but for now, we need to stay focused on our core. We want to launch quickly, get feedback, and then improve. Once we have these core features built, the next step is to get feedback. We will release the MVP to a small group of teachers and parents and ask them what they think. Is it useful? What's missing? What do they like? This feedback will help us to decide what features to add next, and maybe even what to change about the features we already have. The idea is keep improving based on what users really want. I've seen many products fail because they added too much too soon. By starting small and focusing on what people actually use and care about, we can make sure we are building something that really helps. Okay, before we wrap up, I want to share a few ideas for future features, things we might add once our MVP is successful and we start getting good feedback. One idea is file sharing, as I mentioned before. This would let teachers send worksheets or notes directly through the app. Another idea is video call, which could be really useful for parent-teacher meetings. And what about calendar integration? Imagine if parents could sync important dates, like field trips or report card days straight to their phone calendar. Another feature that could be really helpful is language translation. In many classrooms, not all parents speak the same language. Adding a translation feature could make communication smoother and help everyone stay in the same page. These are all ideas for later, but it's fun to think about where we can go. Alright, so today we define the core features for our MVP: user authentication, messaging, contact management, and announcements. These are essential that will help teachers communicate better with parents. Now it's your turn. What do you think about these core features? Is there something else that you think would be really helpful for teachers that we should add later? Or maybe you have thoughts on how to make these features even better? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget, next time we will start talking about the tech stack we will use to build our app. And I have to admit, I'm kind of biased because the tech part is my absolute favorite. I can't wait to dive into all the tools and techie goodness. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. You don't want to miss it. See you soon!